Part 4 of our How Do I Build the Perfect Online Tutoring Business series. And I am still referring back to my notes in part 1. And we have now covered basically what did the roadmap look like. We've talked about marketing, we've talked about a space to teach, and now we're going to be talking about resources. And I really, really, really want to have a hard conversation with you because I want you to think about your pocketbook. And so many of us as educators, we are so giving. We just want to give, 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 give. We'll give everything away for free because we think that that's what we should do. And honestly, I think coming from the public school system where I taught for 32 years, I thought I just had to show up and give it all away for free. But now, as a private tutor, I realize that I cannot give it away for free because I have bills to pay. Plus, it's my time, that I'm giving to these people and my talent. Okay, my time and my talent. So I really have to stop and think, what resources do I need? So, in my very, very first part 1, I was talking to you about how I started out going from home to home and then I switched to online. And even though I have some subscriptions that I have to pay for, I think I'm ahead. And let me tell you why. When I was going into the homes, I was having to create things to take in. I was printing things off. I was cutting things. I was laminating them thinking, oh, somebody else will use this. Well, newsflash, very few times did another student use that because they had something else that they were working on, and many times they did not bridge the gap. So I had to um, take a hard and fast look at that. And when I decided to transition from in home to online, I had this realization that I think I can save some money by investing in some things. So, a couple of things that I invested in. The very first one, and remember, I am a literacy tutor. So, you're going to be, if you're teaching something else that's going to look different. I purchased the entire rewards program by Anita Archer. And this actually works really well for my upper readers, but so few of my kids actually need this because so many of them actually have problems that are much lower than this, that I had to go, well, that's too hard. That's not going to work. So I purchased education.com, which actually really helped me out a lot because then it gave me a platform to pull resources from. And honestly, I don't even know the going rate for that because it's just pulled out of my account and I add it later into my TutorBird for like my expenses. So I'm going to have you do your due diligence and go and look up education.com pricing, but I'll be sure to leave the link for education.com rewards and all the things that I'm sharing. The next thing I want to share with you is actually free online. And for the first couple of months, I used it for free online, but I found out that this manual is worth its weight in gold. And when teachers complain that this manual costs them $90, I just want to shake them and say, spend the $90 because it is the best thing that I have purchased. Um, and it really helped me wrap my head around what the slides were saying online. So, UFly Foundations is something that breaks down the mechanics of reading into the phonological awareness, the phonics, the spelling, the reading, the decoding. I'm putting all those in the wrong order. And now they've even added vocabulary. And so, props to them. And it was created with the help of, there's an author. His name is on the tip of my tongue and I can't come up with it right now. But there was an author that actually helped um, with the funding for it, and it is backed by the science of reading. And I know there's a lot of people that'll say, "Oh, the science of reading is nonsense and whatnot," and that's fine. You have your opinion, but what I can tell you is that this system works. And if you're working with any children with dyslexia or just poor reading skills, it works. It's maybe a little slower sometimes than what I want it to be. But again, I'm only meeting with some of my students twice a week. So I'm not doing it as if I'm in the classroom. So they are making improvements and it is working. Okay, so I've mentioned rewards, education.com, um, uh, UFly, and now I want to talk to you about IXL. And the reason I use IXL and I only pay for two parts of it, you can pay for whatever. I use the reading and the math because I have a couple students that need a little practice with math. I'm no longer like all in on math, but I help a few students with math. And then the reading is really good. So you've got the reading, the writing, um, that's built in there too. And so that's another resource. And then my final resource is Spelling Safari. And I love Spelling Safari. I think it's pretty new, but it does an initial assessment of the student, and then it, as a student, adds more information to the system. It's giving them spelling patterns that they need to work on, and it's just wonderful. And it really saves me a lot of time. And then as the student's working on it, I'm taking notes about spelling patterns so that I'm ready for the next lesson. We study the list that they created, and it's moving my kids forward, and it is worth its weight in gold. So as a literacy coach, that's what I'm using, but I'm also using books from the library too, and really showing my students, like, this is what this looks like when it's in a book. Have you gone to the library? Have you checked out a book lately? What are you reading? And then we're reading. Oh, I have another resource for you. I use the Kindle app, and I purchase books on there. There's probably something that I've forgotten. Now, when we think about the resources that I'm using, they go back to my perfect student, the student who is struggling in reading, writing, and spelling, because I feel like all those things go together. And in order to really understand and become better at reading, you have to know how to spell, you have to know how to write, and so it's all together. It's all together. And so that's what I have done. Now I want you to take this idea of all those resources that I am telling you about that I use, and consider, what's it going to look like if I'm teaching math? What's it going to look like if I'm teaching science? What's it going to look like if I'm a test prep um, coach? All these things are going to be different based on your needs. If you're teaching science, you're really going to have to go out there and look for science materials. I did all of this by just doing Google searches, but now this is 6 years past the first time I ever tutored online. We didn't have AI at that point. We had Google search and so forth. But you can go in and you can create a perfect student. You can say, this is the perfect student that I want to work with. You're putting it into either Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok, whatever it is. You're typing this in. You're explaining the student that you're working with and the problems that they're having. And you can say, I'm looking for resources that will support them, that can be used online, or that I can purchase the teacher's manual for, and go. And remember, all of these resources that you're spending money on, I know when you first get started, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't have any money. I can't afford a laptop. I can't even afford the $90 here. Okay, that's fine. Start in person and use what the kids have. But as you get money, the one thing I've found is that in order to make money, I have to spend some money. And this money is helping me build my programs, so that they're really solid and I can continue to teach in a way that works for the students that I want to support. So I hope it's been helpful. Stay tuned for the next part where we talk about scheduling, billing, and note taking.